All right, Eagles fans. Just when things were starting to feel a bit shaky, the team gets the kind of news that could flip the script entirely. After a tough loss to the Giants, the vibes were off, the concerns were loud, and the secondary? Man, it was under fire. But heading into this critical matchup against the Vikings, things might be looking up at exactly the right time. Multiple injured starters are trending in the right direction. The defense might be getting some key reinforcements, and we're even hearing talk about some big-time positional changes, especially at corner and on the edge, that could reshape this defense. Add to that some signs of life from the offense, and suddenly, there's hope that Philly might be ready to get things rolling again. Now let's get into what might be one of the most pressing storylines going into Sunday. The situation at cornerback. It's been rough, no sugarcoating it. With Quinyon Mitchell going down last week, the Eagles were forced to turn to both Khalil Ringo and Adoree Jackson, and neither one exactly inspired confidence. Ringo, in particular, struggled badly. Whether it was poor coverage, bad positioning, or just getting beat straight up, he had one of those games you wish you could erase. So when defensive coordinator Vic Fangio was asked about what's next at that CB2 spot, he didn't hold back. After starting Ringo the last 3 games, it sounds like the team has seen enough, for now, at least, and Adoree Jackson looks like the likely starter across from Mitchell moving forward, assuming Mitchell is healthy. Fangio didn't mince words. When asked why Ringo struggled, the response was simple. He just got beat. That's the kind of brutal honesty you rarely hear in these pressers. Now, Jackson hasn't been great either, and he's had his share of bad moments this season. But from the coaching staff's perspective, they might feel like he at least brings more experience heading into a game where the Eagles will be up against one of the best wide receiver core in football. The Vikings may not be lighting up the scoreboard every week, but they've got weapons, and you cannot afford to be experimenting out there in coverage. So even if Jackson isn't the long-term answer, it looks like he's going to get another shot, while Ringo goes back to the bench. But even beyond the cornerback shuffle, there's talk that the Eagles aren't done tinkering with this defense. According to a report, the team could still be looking to make moves ahead of the trade deadline, possibly targeting another corner or an edge rusher. This tracks with what we've seen from Philly in recent years. Howie Roseman is always aggressive when he smells opportunity, but let's not pretend his trade record at the deadline has been perfect. Just look at the Kevin Byard deal in 2023 or Robert Quinn the year before. Those didn't exactly move the needle. And with recent additions like Jacorian Bennett, John Mechie III, and Tank Bigsby not producing much, there's real pressure on the front office to get this next move right, if there is one. Still, it's not just about who they might add. The Eagles may already have a potential solution in-house to help with the pass rush. One of the more intriguing ideas floating around right now is shifting Jahad Campbell out to the edge more often, especially if Nakobe Dean is ready to return and can lock things down at inside linebacker. Campbell's been rock solid on the inside this season, but he's got the tools to play on the edge too. He did it at Alabama, and even in limited snaps in the NFL, just 23 pass rush reps, he's managed 6 pressures and an impressive pass rush win rate near 30%. That's no joke. And considering the need Philly has for a spark in that area, getting him more edge work while Dean takes over inside could be a win-win. That said, it's not a simple decision. Campbell's been one of the most consistent performers on the defense, and messing with what's working can be risky. On the other hand, Dean's a player you probably won't have beyond this season unless something changes. So while he's healthy, it makes sense to get him on the field and see what he can offer. And if using Dean inside means freeing up Campbell to terrorize quarterbacks off the edge, that's the kind of chess move that could pay off big down the stretch. And people close to the team seem to like that idea too. Analyst Ross Tucker made an interesting comparison, pointing out that guys like Micah Parsons also played off-ball linebacker before transitioning back to edge. It's not about recreating Parsons, but it's about recognizing that some players have that hybrid capability. And if you've got one, use him. Campbell was a 5-star recruit for a reason, and if he can give you pressure off the edge without needing to trade for a marginal upgrade, that might be the smarter long-term play. Of course, for all this to work, you need everyone healthy, and that's where the really good news starts to roll in. Quinyon Mitchell, who suffered a hamstring injury against the Giants, was spotted at practice this week. That alone is a game changer. Mitchell has been one of the best young corners in football, and the drop-off without him is massive. If he can go on Sunday, it would massively stabilize a unit that's been teetering. And he's not the only one trending upward. Jalen Carter, who missed last week with a heel injury, was also back on the field. That's huge for a defensive front that looked lost without him. Let's not forget, Carter isn't just another rotational guy. He's a game wrecker. When he's on the field, offensive lines have to account for him on every snap. Take him out, and suddenly the Eagles lose that disruptive interior force, and everything changes. Getting him back would mean more than just improved pass rush. It means more freedom for guys like Josh Sweat and Haason Reddick on the outside. The ripple effect is massive. On the offensive side, there's also reason to believe things might finally be turning a corner. Left guard Landon Dickerson, who's been battling through injuries all year and missed the last game, was back at practice. Now, sure, there's a valid argument to be made that he should sit and get healthy. He hasn't been at his best, and the injury has clearly limited him. But that's not how Dickerson operates. If he can walk, he wants to play. Whether or not that's best for the team long-term is up for debate, but in the short term, getting a pro bowl-level lineman back on the field, especially against a dangerous Vikings front, could make a big difference. And that brings us to something that hasn't been talked about enough, the mindset in that locker room. After back-to-back losses, it would be easy for things to spiral. But guys like Saquon Barkley and Jordan Mailata are preaching positivity. They're talking about being one block away in the run game, how close they are to clicking, and how much they believe in the group they have. That matters. It might sound like fluff, but when veterans with experience and leadership say things are on the verge of turning around, that holds weight. Barkley, in particular, had some revealing comments. He made it sound like the team might have made some adjustments or finally figured some things out during the bye week. That maybe the offense is about to hit another gear. Of course, we've heard that before, and talk is cheap, but when a guy like Saquon says it with that kind of conviction, you listen. Maybe the run game gets going. Maybe we finally see this offensive line fire on all cylinders. Maybe the identity starts to come back. And look, it's fair to be skeptical. A 2-game skid brings back bad memories of that collapse in 2023. But players are pushing back on that comparison. They say this team is different. The details are being drilled. The focus is higher. The urgency is there. And if they're right, if those little things actually translate on the field, then we might be looking at a team that's ready to right the ship. So with key guys returning, new defensive strategies potentially on the table, and the offense sounding as confident as it has in weeks, this matchup against the Vikings suddenly becomes more than just a regular season game. It's a statement opportunity, a chance to prove that the wheels aren't falling off, that the talent on this roster can rise above the noise, and that this team still has what it takes to compete at the highest level. Now, while the talk of returning stars and defensive tweaks offers a much-needed jolt of optimism, the truth is the Eagles are still a team under pressure. The margin for error is shrinking, the fan base is restless, and this matchup against Minnesota isn't just another game. It's a measuring stick. And to really appreciate what's at stake here, we got to take a step back and look at what's been happening on both sides of the ball these past few weeks. Offensively, it's been off. There's no better way to put it. The chemistry hasn't been there. The timing has looked shaky. The run game hasn't clicked, and the explosive plays that once came naturally have dried up. But maybe the most frustrating part is that it's not about lack of talent. This roster is loaded. The offensive line, even when banged up, is one of the most physically dominant units in the league. The receivers are top tier. The quarterback has already proven he can play at an MVP level. And yet, they've looked disjointed, which is why this week might be such a pivotal one. Coming out of a bye or a mini break after back-to-back losses, you're supposed to self-scout. You review what's worked, what hasn't, and what needs to change. From the sound of it, that's exactly what happened inside the NovaCare complex. Players like Barkley and Mailata have talked openly about offensive meetings that went deeper than usual. Less about installing plays and more about accountability, detail, mindset. That's where the real change starts. It's not just calling new plays, it's making sure everybody on the field is locked into their role, knows their assignment, and executes it to the level that this offense demands. And that's been part of the problem. For all the talk about play calling or scheme or rhythm, the reality is sometimes the execution just hasn't been there. One missed block, one bad read, one false start, one route run at the wrong depth. That's all it takes to turn a promising drive into a wasted possession. In the NFL, those tiny cracks get exposed fast. And when you face defenses like the Niners, the Cowboys, or yes, even the Vikings, you can't afford those mistakes. You get punished. But again, the encouraging part is that the players seem to know that. And more than that, they seem ready to fix it. Saquon talked about how close they are to breaking through in the run game. How sometimes it's just one guy being half a second late on a block that stops a big play. And he's right. Watch the film, and you'll see flashes. A crease here, a pancake block there. You can almost feel it building, but almost doesn't cut it anymore. This is the week it has to happen. And the stakes go beyond just trying to win a single game. It's about identity. Last year, the Eagles had one. They were physical, relentless. They owned the trenches. They ran the ball when they wanted to and dared you to stop them. They beat teams up. That's been missing this year. Not completely, but consistently. And with the way this schedule shapes up the rest of the way, you don't get a lot more chances to figure it out. This has to be the moment where they rediscover who they are. And look, while the offense has taken a lot of heat, and some of it deservedly, the defense hasn't exactly been lights out either. The Giants game exposed some real vulnerabilities. No pass rush, missed tackles, confusion in the secondary. It was the kind of performance that makes you sit up and say, okay, something's got to change. That's why seeing guys like Jalen Carter and Quinyon Mitchell back on the field is so important. These aren't just solid contributors. These are difference makers. Carter wrecks game plans. Mitchell locks down one side of the field. Without them, the defense looks ordinary. With them, it becomes something else entirely. But it's not just about the big names. The entire unit needs to play smarter and faster. There's been miscommunication in zone coverages, breakdowns in gap assignments. At this level, those mistakes kill you. And they have. The hope is that a slightly reshuffled cornerback rotation, more pressure from guys like Sweat and Reddick, and possibly even using Jahad Campbell in new ways can shake things up enough to get this defense back on track. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be one of the most shocking moves in recent NFL history, whispers around the league suggest that Nick Sirianni, the charismatic head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, may be preparing to step away from the franchise. Though nothing has been officially confirmed beyond a brief, cryptic announcement hinting at his departure, sources close to the team are already speculating about the reasons behind the possible exit and what it could mean for both Sirianni and the Eagles' future. Sirianni, who has been credited with injecting a new energy and identity into the Eagles since taking over, has become a polarizing figure in Philadelphia. Fans have admired his offensive ingenuity and motivational approach, yet whispers of friction behind the scenes have persisted. The timing of this revelation is especially eyebrow-raising, as the Eagles appear poised for another competitive season. Could it be philosophical differences with management, a desire for a new challenge, or perhaps opportunities elsewhere that are tempting the coach? The NFL rumor mill is running wild with possibilities. Insiders suggest that if Sirianni were to officially leave, the Eagles would face a scramble to maintain their momentum. Names of potential successors are already circulating, from rising coordinators to veteran head coaches with championship pedigrees. Meanwhile, social media is buzzing with speculation, some fans expressing shock, others voicing relief, and a few predicting that this could spark a wave of domino-effect coaching changes across the league. Despite the uncertainty, one thing is clear. Sirianni's potential departure is already reshaping narratives about the Eagles' future. Analysts are debating whether his leadership style, which blends aggressive play calling with a relentless drive to develop talent, can be replicated, and what the financial implications might be for both coach and team. Philadelphia, a city known for passionate fans and high expectations, is bracing for what could be an emotional chapter in its storied football history. Whether this turns out to be a fleeting rumor or the start of a seismic shift, one thing is undeniable. Nick Sirianni's name is now the center of the NFL gossip machine, and the Eagles' locker room may never look the same again. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.